Jungles are not just home to trees and wildlife. Some forests hide secrets that can deeply disturb anyone who discovers them. In some places, old dolls hang silently from trees, and in others, the silence is so heavy that a person can feel completely lost. Across the world, disturbing discoveries have been made deep inside jungles, proving that nature still hides dark and unexplained secrets. Today, we explore two most disturbing things ever found in jungles. Deep within the winding canals of Xochimilco Canals, near Mexico City, lies a place that seems pulled straight out of a nightmare. A place where silent eyes watch every visitor and every breeze whispers secrets from the past. This place is known as Isla de las Muñecas, the island of the dolls. But what makes this island so eerie, and why have thousands of dolls been left hanging from trees, poles, and huts all over the island? Today, we dive into the unsettling history of this strange place, a story of loss, obsession, and a legend that refuses to be forgotten. Legend has it that the island began its transformation many decades ago, long before tourists and cameras turned it into a viral sensation. The man at the center of this story was a recluse named Don Julian Santana Barrera, a humble caretaker who lived alone on the island for years. According to local residents, Don Julian was a solitary figure who spent his days in quiet contemplation, tending to the small piece of land he called home. One day, something tragic happened near the island. A young girl drowned in the canal's water, and her lifeless body was found close by. Don Julian was deeply shaken by this incident, and some say he felt responsible, though he had nothing to do with her death. Grief settled into his life like a shadow, and he became obsessed with honoring the girl's memory. Then the first doll appeared. He found it floating in the water, a simple, worn toy with glassy eyes staring blankly ahead. He didn't throw it away. Instead, he placed it carefully on a tree near the shore. For Don Julian, the doll symbolized something more than plastic and cloth. It was a lingering sign of a lost soul, a presence he couldn't ignore. Days later, another doll washed ashore, and another. With each new doll, Don Julian's mission grew clearer to him. He would collect every doll he could and display them across the island, not as toys but as guardians. And so he started gathering dolls from boats, from canals, and from the mainland. Some were donated, others found. Don Julian hung them from branches, nailed them to walls, and perched them in corners, nearly 1,000 in total by the time his collection was complete. As time passed, visitors began to notice something strange about the island. The dolls seemed to stare at anyone who walked by, heads tilted, eyes unblinking, limbs contorted by time and weather. Some dolls were missing limbs, others had cracked faces, and almost all were worn by years of sun, wind, and rain. Many who visited described a sense of being watched, as though the dolls were aware of every move. The wind through the trees would make plastic heads sway, creating an eerie dance of shadows. At dusk, the silhouettes of hanging dolls against the orange sky seemed like silent sentinels guarding the island's secrets. Legend grew. Some claimed that the dolls were haunted, that they held the spirits of lost children, lingering between this world and the next. Others said that Don Julian had somehow imbued them with his own sorrow, and that anyone who visited after sunset could hear whispers among the dolls. Tour guides began to tell stories to curious travelers, about dolls changing position overnight, about whispers carried on the canal breeze, and about Don Julian's spirit still wandering the paths he once walked. Cameras and phones often captured strange reflections and shadows, fueling the island's eerie reputation even more. But what's the truth behind all this? Anthropologists and researchers who have studied Isla de las Muñecas suggest that the island became a symbol of one man's grief and psychological transformation. Don Julian's dedication to honoring the memory of the drowned girl became a lifelong ritual, turning the island into both a memorial and a gallery of his devotion. The dolls themselves are ordinary toys. mass-produced objects that lost children once loved. Over time, however, weathered and abandoned, they took on a haunting appearance. When objects associated with childhood become decayed and lifeless, the effect on the human imagination is powerful, triggering emotions that range from sadness to fear. In 2001, Don Julian's life came to an end. He was found dead in the same canal where the young girl had drowned years earlier. Some believe it was an accident. Others whisper that he finally joined the spirits he had devoted his life to honoring. Today, Isla de las Muñecas is a destination for travelers from around the world, not just for those who seek the eerie or mysterious, but for anyone fascinated by places where human emotion and natural decay converge. Visitors leave flowers, broken toys, and sometimes even new dolls, as if contributing to a story that continues beyond Don Julian's life. Walking through the island now, you can hear the rustle of leaves, the creak of old wood, and every so often, the distant splash of water against the canal banks. The dolls hang quietly, some missing eyes, others missing limbs, yet all remaining eerily present. Isla de las Muñecas isn't just a haunted place on a map. It's a reminder of how memory, grief, and obsession can shape a landscape in unexpected ways. It shows us that sometimes humanity leaves marks far stranger and more profound than any natural wonder. And while the dolls may never speak, their silent stare reminds every visitor that some mysteries of the world aren't just about ghosts or spirits. They're about the deeply human stories that lie hidden beneath the surface. But as strange as Isla de las Muñecas is, it is only one of many eerie places hidden in forests and jungles around the world. Up next, we explore an even more unsettling discovery, one that was not made by chance, but uncovered by explorers deep within a forgotten wilderness. On the northwestern side of Mount Fuji in Japan lies a dense and unusually silent woodland known as Akigahara Forest. At first glance, it appears breathtakingly beautiful, filled with towering trees, winding paths, and lush green scenery. But beyond its natural beauty, Akigahara carries a far more unsettling reputation. The forest sits on hardened volcanic lava from Mount Fuji's historic eruption. Because of this, the ground is uneven and filled with caves and roots, creating a maze-like terrain. The dense tree coverage blocks much of the sunlight, casting the forest in a dim, almost permanent twilight. Even sound behaves differently here. The soft volcanic soil absorbs footsteps, making the forest eerily quiet. What has made Akigahara known worldwide, however, is the discovery of human remains over the years. Authorities and volunteer search teams have conducted regular patrols and organized searches in the forest. Missing persons have been found here, and the location has gained a tragic association because some individuals have chosen this isolated place during moments of deep personal struggle. In response, Japanese authorities have placed signs at the forest entrances encouraging visitors to seek help and reminding them that life is valuable. The messages urge people to reconsider and contact family or support services if they are experiencing emotional distress. Volunteers also patrol the area, offering assistance to anyone who may appear lost or in need of help. Despite its dark reputation, Akigahara is not a haunted forest in a supernatural sense. Much of its eerie atmosphere comes from natural factors: the silence, the twisted roots, the dim light filtering through thick branches. Human imagination fills in the rest. The stillness can feel overwhelming, especially when combined with the forest's tragic history. Today, Akigahara stands as both a place of natural beauty and a solemn reminder of human vulnerability. Rather than being sensationalized, it is increasingly viewed as a symbol of the importance of mental health awareness and compassion. Akigahara's silence does not just echo through its trees. It reflects the quiet struggles many people face, reminding us that behind every dark reputation lies a deeply human story.